They're just looking for that. Make sure it's clear.
Yeah, they're looking for a vehicle.
But I remember that time we were down just leaving scooters on K Park, one of our favorite local or coffee places. Same thing, and you really almost got hit that day too.
Yeah.
I think the moral of the story is don't ride with Jeff.
Well, no. 1 year was don't ride. 1 year was don't ride with me because I
just
had
have to
flat tires.
So now that's dramatic.
And then here's the thing, Aaron. He also has been hit by a deer on his bike.
Oh yeah.
So
On Giles Road going to 144th, a big buck comes up underneath my handlebars,
You are lucky you didn't get
right on, and start pushing
yeah.
into the road. And I'm going, I had no idea what's going on. I'm looking down here and I'm going, what is this? And I look up and there's this rack, and I'm trying to turn this way to get him to go in. No, that ain't going to work.
No.
He's about 180, 200 pounds. And so I go like this and then the wheel goes like that and I'm boom, down.
all right, but we're going to get going here with Sheriff Aaron Hanson, the Douglas County Sheriff. Aaron and I go back a lot of years with the Omaha Police Department. Looking at Aaron's resume here, or his bio, a highly decorated officer. He worked in the gang unit, worked in the canine unit, fugitive task force. These are dealing with criminals of violent nature. He spent a lot of years, a lot of time doing it, and thank the good Lord he came out unscathed. He was a 3-term president of the Omaha Police Union, and keeping those people happy was, I'm surprised you have any hair left. But and he's been involved in the state legislative liaison with the Omaha Police Officers Association, executive director of Nebraska Center for Workforce Development and Education, and other nonprofit organizations. And so he loves the job, lives, eats, breathes it all. 2 brothers that were also in law enforcement. Still are. Good. Worked with them a little bit. So count Aaron as a friend. He's a good man. And thank you for coming tonight, taking your time. And hopefully it'll work out for the Ride of Silence and take it from there. So you got as much time as you want.
Great. Thank you very much for having me. And like Mike said, as someone that spent the majority of my career with Omaha, either investigating drug cartels or street violence or going after fugitives or dangerous gang members, it's interesting that now that I'm sheriff, one of my top priorities is traffic safety and reducing traffic fatalities. And it's an easy answer because you're my bosses, and that's what my bosses want. I mean, we did some polling through the University of Nebraska at Omaha School of Criminal Justice, and to pinpoint the priorities of people in the county, and especially folks out in unincorporated Douglas County, where Douglas County Sheriff's Office has primary 911 response jurisdiction. And far and away, the top concern was dangerous driving, negligent driving, distracted driving, and the aftermath. And I was surprised to see that at first. That was on the front end of year 1 of our administration. But as I talked to more people and I started to go out and talk to and listen to people about their priorities, boy, the street racing, the dangerous driving, the DUI driving, the distracted driving. And then when Dr. Lataha was killed just north of Valley, that really seemed to gel a lot of people out there because he was so well regarded and loved by not only his family, but so many people in the community. And so, a few things we've done through the Sheriff's Office that is worth your note. We created what's called the Community Action Team, the CAT team. Anybody follow us on social media or you watch the news? Okay, the CAT team is kind of popular. They're kind of a multi-dimensional quality of life working group where one day they may be trying to drop speeds on a high-speed highway in the county. They may be laser focused in like a scalpel on a particular neighborhood that is experiencing challenges with maybe red light runners or stop sign runners, or something where there's an enhanced risk, maybe with kids in the area or park. They may respond to deal with a homeless encampment that people are feeling nervous about, or that there's crime problems stemming from. So many of those bring us to bike trails, where we get complaints from people on bike trails about those situations. So, we're listening. We like listening to our bosses. That's the beauty of a sheriff's office is, there's no one between the sheriff and the people. And so it's a great opportunity to have a law enforcement agency that we're all responsive to the people. But when you don't have any buffer between your bosses and the elected official, that's a good relationship to have. A couple things that are happening right now that you need to be aware of. Right now, down in Lincoln, LB 530, legislative bill 530. That's being debated in Lincoln. Senator Kauth from Millard, which is an area that we get a lot of complaints about neglectful driving, reckless driving. She sponsored that bill. The intent is to boost up the penalties on speeders, negligent drivers, people that are that engage in behaviors that can cost bicyclists their lives. And so one thing I would recommend that everybody do right now, especially if you're watching this from home or you watch it later when you get home, find out who your state senator is. Okay? You can go online, find my Nebraska state senator, send them a quick email or give them a phone call. You can call 24/7, leave a message, and tell them to support that legislative bill 530. Most of us in this room, it seems common sense, like who would oppose that bill? Lots of senators are opposing that bill for whatever reason. They do not want to see the penalties increased on these type of crimes for reasons that I don't understand. Yeah, Mike.
Aaron, are you seeing a split in senators, rural versus urban area on that, or is it across the board?
No, I think what I read today, and I'm going to try to get more information from the senator, I think there just is a cross-section of people. It's a small, vocal minority of senators that just don't want to see increased penalties for anything, whether it's, not paying for your dog's tags or, speeding. I think the expired license plate, which, which are things that I get a lot of complaints about from people. But we definitely do have to, we have to look at increasing the penalties. Those penalties have not been increased for decades. And so therefore, we're not doing a good enough job to disincentivize the behavior. The other thing on the local level, make sure you're talking to your city council members, your county board members, your mayors. Let them know how much you prioritize increasing the consequences for dangerous driving as well. Very recently, Mayor Stothert promoted an ordinance in Omaha. It was approved unanimously through every city council person to increase the penalties on street racers, dangerous exhibition street racers. That passed. And again, I think there was people that even lined up to oppose that bill. I don't understand why.
People just chose to oppose.
Well, yeah, but it's a worthwhile conversation. Obviously, we want to be careful when we're imposing additional penalties for behavior. But I think, again, this is one of these 80-20 issues. 80% of the people in our community agree and are concerned about this type of driving behavior. The last thing I'll mention is as you're driving through your bike trails, be communicating with law enforcement if you do see a homeless encampment along a bike trail. It is against state law for someone to camp in an unauthorized fashion on state property, county property, or NRD property. That does not extend to city property. I think it should. But when you see these tent encampments, especially along bike trails, it's good to share it with law enforcement or with the mayor's hotline or whoever's responsible for that area, because that's not your traditional homelessness. Those folks, 99% of the folks that are living in a tent are struggling with unaddressed behavioral health and addiction. And so you may ask, well, why is that my problem as I'm driving by on a bike? Well, it may become your problem. It may be a young kid's problem who's driving down the trail. I don't want to vilify these folks, but the fact of the matter is, it is good for law enforcement and service providers and street outreach people to know where they are, because ultimately they're not getting any help in that tent along that bike trail. And in some unfortunate cases, we've seen crimes occur, either thefts of people that park and leave their cars on a bike trail and then go out and bike or jog, or we've even seen people assaulted in a felonious manner along a bike trail. So, thanks for having me. What questions do you have? What would you like to discuss from a public safety? Yeah,
I got one.
yeah.
So, does Nebraska have that hands-free driving law like Iowa just
No,
passed?
we have right now utilizing a mobile device is a secondary offense, which means there has to be some other primary offense. I'm sorry. Okay. Some other primary offense to stop the vehicle in order to write a ticket for distracted driving utilizing a device.
So if they have a car accident in Nebraska, do they even look at their cell phone?
We do. If somebody if there's injury,
Right. Or
so you can.
I don't know how.
you can
I know
write
how
a-
it's sort of how it works in Iowa.
Well, you can write a search warrant
Yeah.
for the contents of a mobile device if you believe that there's evidence of a crime on that mobile device. And so, often you see
People texting.
investigators doing a search warrant. They want to see, were you watching YouTube? Were you texting? Were you,
Yeah.
And that's commonplace. And that's why when we were trying to crack down on the street racers, we did the same thing with our deputies. We said, look, if you think there's evidence, if you can articulate there's evidence, like they're filming themselves.
Oh, they are.
And seize the phone and write a search warrant. Well, that was very popular with 80% of people in the community. But again, that 20%, they didn't like it. Well, that's a civil rights violation. Well, I'd rather be on the front end of preventing the bike rider from getting smashed and killed, or preventing, the person from getting in a fatal collision. So I'm okay with, offending someone's feelings when it comes to using the law to investigate a crime. If we can be proactive.
Pedestrian felonies, car pedestrian accidents and fatalities, I know for 24, weren't they like super high numbers?
Yeah, I think 2024 we had a record number.
Yeah.
They just reported it on the news that I watched at home. It was the worst year in like 25 years.
Yeah.
250 deaths on Nebraska.
And a knock on wood, I'm going to literally drink that's fake wood. We're into May, and out in unincorporated Douglas County, if you take Douglas County and you slice it in half from Missouri River, Dutch Hall Road down to Harrison at Platte River, the top half is primarily DCSO, primary jurisdiction. And to date, I knocked on wood, we've had 0 traffic fatalities so far this year. And I credit that to, we've been aggressively pushing the public education. We're trying to get people to think. We'll telegraph the punch. We'll say, hey, we're going to go hit 204th Street. We're going to hit West Dodge. No speed traps. There's no traps. You can walk right into the trap, and then we'll publicize what we do, the high speed tickets and arrests that we make. And hopefully that's starting to sink in.
That's kind of circles back to what my question was. We have a bill to increase penalties of what's being done to prevent the incident in the first place, so you don't have to even institute a penalty.
Well, I can speak
And of
for
course, you don't know what you have to prevent.
I can speak for my agency. We are being very proactive with traffic enforcement. Actually, I just hit a roll call in the evening shift, and aside from my community action team, I just let them go. I'm like, you guys know what to do. Go do it. Combat this type of dangerous driving behavior. but also even the traditional road patrol deputies, I'm telling them, hey, I know I'm going to ask you to do a lot. You respond to behavioral health calls, you respond to burglaries, you're trying to prevent construction site thefts out in the county, but continue to hit that aggressive traffic enforcement on those high-speed highways where we know a lot of people bike. Okay, 204th Street, West Maple, a lot of those areas out there, because if you do dedicated traffic enforcement out there, you're impacting all these issues. Because the criminal that's coming to burglarize your house might see you on a traffic stop and go, nope, not today. You know what I mean? Or you may stop him leaving your house. Or you may prevent a traffic fatality. Or you may get a drunk driver and prevent a traffic fatality.
Has the legislators, Lincoln, tried or thought about passing a hands-free law with that like as a primary offense?
Yeah, there's been a lot of debate over it. Nebraska has quite the libertarian streak, which, in some areas I understand, but, they're like, hey, don't tell me what I can't do. I mean, we're probably, in the big scheme of things, I bet you if you went back to the seatbelt laws and you went back to, airbag laws and things like that. If you look at those helmet laws, well, they just got rid of them.
Yeah.
But if you look at traffic fatality rates across the nation, the math is very clear. It'll spike, and then you'll see the seatbelt laws coming into effect, and it'll drop. And then it comes up again, and then you'll see the federal law mandating airbags, and it goes down. Well, guess what happened? As you see in 2007, Steve Jobs' iPhone, that we all enjoy, goes up. As iPhones and mobile devices become more prevalent, now we're seeing the traffic fatalities peaking up, and we're going to have to look in the mirror and talk to our policymakers and our neighbors and say, what's really more important? I mean, do you really want to be on your phone? Does it matter that it's not a primary offense? Or do you not want your daughter to come home alive? You know what I mean?
They can make these things so they don't work while you're in your car, except for if they're hands-free.
They can what?
They can make these so nothing works in your car if they're not hands-free.
Yeah. Well,
It just
there's pros and cons of that
Yeah,
too, because if it's an emergency, you want to be able to, if
You
they
can
make
stop.
it
Yeah,
too rigid, then you see a girl getting kidnapped, and you're like, oh, I can't. I
Yeah.
can't call.
Well, you can call, but you won't be able to text or update your Facebook status or.
But the
Stuff like
conversations are important,
Yeah.
because the conversations ultimately are where people can stake their claim on what they think's important or what they believe. Then they can disseminate that to their elected
I'll
policy.
tell you, when you're on bike and you go from different intersection to different intersection, you have to purposely pay attention because people are totally distracted. And I mean, she almost got run over yesterday. That happens. I don't think there's ever a ride that I go out at least once, and usually a couple times during my ride, during 20 or 30 mile ride, I'll end up almost getting bowled over, just like you got. For that reason, for people who are messing with their phone and just don't pay attention. It's bad. It's
Not getting
for
better.
cyclists. No, it's getting worse.
Well, which goes back to, that grassroots activism. The best thing you can do, whatever jurisdiction you live in, talk to your state senator,
Right.
talk to your city council person, talk to your county commissioner, and if you live in an area where you have a mayor, talk to your mayor. Send the email, leave the message, because it's like me. I'm an elected official. Okay, I don't have to embroil myself in all the partisan politics because I got to focus on public safety. But I listen to when we get a lot of comments about traffic driving, crazy driving. I was at I try to hit the fish fries every Friday in Douglas County. And I tell you, I can't tell you the number of people that pulled me to their table physically. They're like, sit down, Sheriff. We love what you're doing to stop the aggressive driving. More of that, and people, we need to listen. Elected officials need to listen to that.
I know you can't be everywhere, okay? And I live just south of Center Street, 156.
Okay.
And it's not uncommon. In fact, I think it was just this weekend. I think I woke up around 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock, and there's cars racing. I mean, I can hear it. It's going, and I only have the windows open in my house. You just hear what's going on.
Right.
So, and I don't know what your jurisdiction is, how far. I
Douglas
know that's
County.
a state highway.
Yeah.
All of the.
We'll, what we do.
And I know you've been out there further west on Center.
What the CAT team will do is if they can get pinpointed intelligence. So, like, there are areas that you could set your watch by, and you could say, these guys are racing every Sunday and from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. in this area. We love that because then when the CAT team gets that email, and real quick, just so you know, if you live in Douglas County and if you have a pinpointed quality of life issue like that, a traffic issue, you can email the CAT team. That's DCSO for Douglas County Sheriff's Office. DCSO CAT, C-A-T, at Douglas County, one word, Douglas County dash NE for Nebraska .gov. DCSO CAT at Douglas County dash NE.gov. They love those pinpointed tips because they'll set up an operation and they'll try to intercept the behavior.
You think
And-
Sarpy County does the same thing?
I'm sure they do. I think I feel we love our brothers and sisters in Sarpy County, but I think we get a lot of street racers now. They're like, we're not messing with the sheriff in Douglas County. They're going to take us to jail and impound our car. So they'll go across the river, or they'll try to go south of Harrison or north of Dutch Hall
Must
Road.
be coming down to 72nd Cornhusker area because I hear remembering that.
Yeah.
They're smart.
Well, and it's a quality of life issue. It's not just a
Yes.
safety issue. I don't know about you. I like getting my 8 hours of sleep every night. And I like sleeping with my windows open.
I don't like hearing
Yeah.
that. It makes me
Oh, yeah. It's so loud.
This time here. Oh, one other question.
Yeah,
Is Brian O'Malley still in your department?
he is.
I sat on his Eagle Border Review.
Did you really? He's an
Yeah.
Eagle Scout.
Yes.
Okay. I'll have to tell him I know that.
Well, I haven't
everything
talked
makes
to him
sense
in
now.
years. I just wondered.
dating yourself.
This might be something that's not anything you know about, but we've been talking about lately. There's some interesting black uniformed guys on bicycles that look official, look like police, but not
You've seen
really.
them too?
Yeah. That are on bicycles on the trail.
Where?
I saw them down.
I've seen them on West Patio. I've seen them on Keystone
Sarpy or Douglas?
throughout the city.
I saw them.
Yeah.
Did the bike say police on it or something?
It doesn't say anything.
Black bikes?
You tried to engage him the other day.
Well, and those were real Omaha police, because I recognized the one.
Those were?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
These guys were, the ones I saw, they were all in black guards.
Yes.
It looked like they had some sort of.
They were like
uniform
Marlins.
on their-
Emblem, not a badge.
It didn't look like it was their
oh,
police
With the
kind of badge.
Mm.
Maybe there was some sort of security,
Antifa on bikes.
something, but they were on, I think they were on either e-bikes or motorized bikes.
Yeah, they're on e-bikes.
And
Yeah.
they had all get up with bags and
They
everything.
look like
They even
officials.
had blue and amber lights on their
Class
bikes
3.
sticking out.
In Sarpy County.
I saw them, that's why I saw them.
Vest on.
I've seen them in
And there were two guys, and maybe they were official, maybe they weren't. I didn't.
Well, I think most bike patrol. Oops, sorry.
So it's like,
Mike,
you
back.
don't know whether they're official.
I think most bike patrol uniforms they want to stand out.
They want to stand out. And I think Omaha's wearing like a blue.
Yeah,
Not-
blue and a yellow, maybe.
Well, I was going to pull up a picture I took last year. The one that we saw when we were riding last week, I know that Bender is the cop. I remember recognizing him. He was at that
right.
meeting at
I
UNO.
thought that was the
But the
same
way they
guy.
described these, they were talking the other day about it. I don't think these are Omaha cops.
Well,
It just
I mean,
doesn't sound right.
they should, if they are performing either
Like private
a
security.
government patrol or a contracted patrol, they should stop and identify themselves
Yeah.
if you ask them to.
Yeah, I just wondered if you knew anything about that.
It could be. I mean, depending on where it is, maybe someone has engaged someone privately.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Do you guys have bike patrol?
We don't. We've talked about that. I know we've got a couple Omaha bike patrol guys that would love to expose us to that. But
If you do, go get e-bikes, class 3. Riding regular bikes, it just doesn't make any sense. They really need to be
Well, if you have to chase
fast.
somebody down who's on an
Assist
e-bike,
bike.
you're not catching them, unless you're a racer to start with.
right.
Yeah, we were in the other day,
Well, they probably
and there was a full-on gas motorcycle.
Yeah,
no
Yeah,
color
yeah.
ammo
on the bike trail.
My class 3 bike is 56 pounds with the one battery. It's over 60 with 2 batteries.
Yeah, the cops I knew that you did it.
Yeah.
Younger, probably faster anyway.
You're saying it's not
Played
that
the
type
pavilion
No,
too.
Sure, you
But
have
if they
to have
need to
much
get
almost
trail that's
catch
actually
up with
in your
somebody.
jersey.
That's what we do.
We got some
Okay.
things like that. But I think out in the county, a lot of people do ride bikes on those rural roads.
It's weird. Ray's noticed a lot.
What about red light cameras? Where are you at with red light cameras?
I'm not a big fan because you don't know who's driving. You know what I mean? I think I would rather we just increase the penalties.
You said it.
You know what I mean? And I think it's better to increase the penalties
I could have got somebody on my way here.
for the red light cameras. I think, or for the red light violations and stop sign violations. I think that's probably the way to go.
They have them all over Iowa.
The tinted light windows really hurt that too, don't they?
It can,
Yeah.
depends on where
And I've
they're at.
noticed the tinting, you can't really see what people are doing outside there.
Just to make an eye contact across the trail, it's like, okay, I'm looking at you, but
I can't see
They're
it.
riding motorcycles. So you're stop there and you're visible until you still die.
They haven't changed
Nobody
that.
sees you.
No, it's
Even when
just,
they look you in the face.
Situational
really
aware.
enforced.
You don't understand
It calls you.
the other side.
Never heard of anybody getting.
That's
You gotta have your head on.
Like all of them.
They get
Yeah,
it.
tint.
Secondary effect.
oh yeah.
No,
I think it's a primary.
Yeah,
it's a primary.
Coming up to the intersection. I don't.
Well, folks, I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me. And,
so much.
yeah,
Hey,
we'll keep it up. We want to make the roads as safe as we can for you, all across the county. Not just. I know it sounds bad to brag about, 0 fatalities so far in unincorporated Douglas County, but the CAT team focuses all across the county when we have the time, and when the needs are not greater in the unincorporated parts of the county.
What's normal fatalities?
Oh gosh,
was last year.
I'd have to look at the. Well, let's see. We were down in unincorporated Douglas County. We had 8. We were down 10%. I think countywide was up like 40%. It was a bad year.
Yeah.
So,
I think, go back to the pedestrian fatalities in the city of Omaha, it's horrendous. And a lot of the locations were like Blackstone area, Capital District, where you have a high foot traffic. You've got people going from restaurant to bars.
it's on the high-speed roadways too.
High-speed roadways, and it's not unusual when you put cars in those high congested areas, you get some death. So, which is unfortunate. But,
Thank you.
okay.
Well, thank you, folks. I appreciate it.